Hi everyone, and welcome to your weekly channeled messages reading brought to you by 1millionnights.com. Feel free to check out our website because right now we have a very special promotion. Sign up and create a client account and you get 5% bonus in all our prepaid packages. This reading is based on divine synchronicity. So if you have been asking for some divine guidance or any kind of clarity in the very recent past, then there is a small chance for you to maybe find an answer or a guidance among these messages. And also, you don't need to choose any specific card, just listen through the messages, take in what resonates, and discard the rest. Now for the first message, we have the Empress reversed, clarified by the Five of Wands. Now these cards depict a very kind of unfavorable situation, which from a certain perspective doesn't make any sense to you, who is basically suffering it, so to speak, because the Empress reversed may speak about that due to this global situation, but not necessarily the physical elements of it, but rather the psychological elements. Everyone basically is in panic mode. There is a massive informational chaos out there. No one really knows what it is that needs to be done. No one has any hope, answer, even a very well established plan for the future, because it would be totally unwise to grip and be attached to a very specific future plan, because all of us know that everything is so very uncertain and everything can change from one moment to the other. But of course, this has a very powerful side effect, because even if we might have a lot of sources of pleasure in our lives, regardless of what nature they are, we might not really be able to fully experience them, enjoy them, immerse ourselves into them, because we are also connected, like it or not, believe it or not, be aware or not, to the collective consciousness, which is in a lot of turmoil, fear, energy, uncertainty, worries, panics, desperation for some people, fill the very air. And naturally, we suck this in as well, as in, if we are connected to it, well then it's like a download, like it or not. It is almost like collective reality patches our own, so we are collateral victims. And some people find it so very hard not to have any kind of pleasure in their lives, and basically not having is not the right term to use, because the source of pleasure might be there, but it is our psyches that cannot react to it, as they would normally. Even if we have pleasure in our lives, maybe they're not as nurturing, they're not as fulfilling, they're not as meaningful as in any kind of normal circumstances. And sadly, the Empress reversed means any kind of pleasure, even spiritual pleasure, even escapism, even, just being with our beings, with ourselves. So this is perfectly valid even for those people who never ever allowed their pleasures to be conditioned by external reality. This is where it doesn't matter who we are, what we embody, what we are working towards, what our destinies are. All of us are in this one way or another. And that Five of Wands represents our inner conflicts, because chances are most of us, 99% of us, do have some kind of conflict in our lives. It can be conflict with other people, it can be simply conflict with external reality, whatever is going on the world stage. It can be conflict between, a legal kind of conflict where we have to protect our sovereign human rights, or it can be an inner conflict, spiritual conflict, us losing our faith. It can take so very many different dimensions, proportions, it doesn't really matter. This is where All of us, regardless of who we are, what we have done in our lives until this present moment, even it doesn't even matter what kind of powers, miracles, skills, experiences, philosophies we might even inherit it from our previous existences. This is where nothing really matters. So basically the only solution is to somehow try and get a grip on our beings, on our own psychology, to turn that Empress into upright position. Because otherwise, well, again I have to say, it doesn't matter who we are, what kind of powers we possess, whatever is going on in the world right now, because this is a massive pivotal moment. It can leave all of us a little bit soured, bitter, and in a very sorrow condition. Especially those people who have been living very moral, very dignified, balanced lives, where everything was about morality, equality, respecting others, doing the right thing always. Well, if those people lived all their lives like this, what kind of karmic reward is all of this massive change for them? They even might be totally 100% aware that this is leading to a greater good, but, if it actually turns their lives against them, well, it isn't justice, is it? No, not even divine justice, not even human justice. At this present moment, those people who have fought all their lives for a greater good might be feeling right now as martyrs, as collateral victims. So of course that Empress is kind of reversed for everyone, but we do have a choice. And this choice might be a little bit extreme, because it is absolutely true that not everyone has this inner psychological fortitude to do this, to reverse that Empress, to turn her into an upright position, because the key of doing that is eliminating the Five of Wands, stopping all sources of battle, strife, conflict, even if that conflict is our survival instincts. If we totally detach ourselves from a psychological perspective from the rest of the world, where we simply place that crown, the crown of the Empress, on our own heads, where we instantly become the most important person, being, creature in our existence. This is kind of an attitude where, yes, the universe can sometimes revolve around us and our stories, especially from our own personal perspectives. And while under normal circumstances, this might be a narcissistic or egocentric take on things, but when, the world is in ruins, when the world is totally unsupportive and going against us as individuals, well, under that circumstance, this might be the best possible solution, the best possible psychological attitude, because this can even have spiritual consequences. Whatever we do, whatever we transform and alchemize deep inside ourselves, that also reflects on the outside. So sometimes it is us who mimic the attitude of the universe, but other times it is the universe, the external reality, the divine existing even outside of us, that mimics our own attitudes. So this can be a very effective psychological, alchemical, spiritual trick, so to speak, to basically disconnect ourselves from all conflict, strife, etc. And even if there is a conflict, for example, the need to survive, some people might be out of money and starvation can just end their stories imminently without too many problems. But for them, when they actually turn themselves into the center of their own cosmos, of their own universe, well, that battle for survival can take on totally different ways of expression, where external reality, the universe, will naturally support itself. And when you identify with it, you become its personified expression, so to speak. Well, then immediately things take on a totally different term, because like this, the universe, likes it or not, well, it has to support you one way or another. May it take the form of a big miracle, may it take the form of any kind of support or any kind of coincidence, twist and turn of events which guarantees your survival. Well, that is exactly what's gonna happen. And when you're the empress of your own universe, of your own existence, well then, whatever the universe will offer you is immediately gonna turn into true pleasure, true nurturing energies of your soul and psyche. Because when you're at the center of your own universe, anything that you receive is basically a pleasure, a gift, a donation, a sign of support, a confirmation of your true worth. So if you're in a very impossible situation, if basically you cannot enjoy anything anymore in your life, then do this, try this approach temporarily, and it can simply heal you in a very miraculous way. So just dare to believe in yourself, dare to actually place the crown of the Empress on your own head. Now for the second message, we have the Nine of Pentacles clarified by the Justice card. Now this is a very simple and straightforward message for someone who has fought for a very long time to become totally self-sufficient. The Nine of Coins doesn't necessarily have to represent just material independence, material self-sufficiency, being happy with your situation, with your life, with how basically you managed your inner and outer resources. Simply said, the life that you have created for yourself. But as I said, this doesn't mean strictly material independence for everyone. Some people might have totally different virtues, or their strength or their biggest blessing in their lives is not necessarily of material nature. So this is perfectly valid even if you are very, very self-sufficient, for example, from a psychological perspective, from a spiritual perspective, in your career, job-wise, in your relationship, friendship, etc. This can represent anything, every single area of your life where you are very independent, happy, powerful, strong, a force to be reckoned with. And the key word is that you really, really don't need anyone's help, anyone's support, anyone's presence, because you're perfectly self-sufficient. And the Justice card might represent that there have been some people in your past who you had to eliminate in order to become self-sufficient, in order to become independent, because they were simply leeching away your virtues, your energy, your resources. They were tricking you into, always being merciful and generous to them. In other words, they were using you. Now, this can represent an ex-partner, like an ex-husband, ex-wife, ex-relationship, but it has to be long-term, so you had to be with this person for a longer time. It doesn't really mean a short-term relationship. It can also mean someone who you worked for, your boss, a company, manager, colleague, supervisor. It can also represent, Libra, the Justice card, an old partner, ally, business partner, associate, someone who you worked on a project on. But it can equally represent just friends, old friends who are no longer part of your life because you shut them out naturally. Now the Justice card might represent that regardless who these people are, some of them are going to contact you. They are trying to make an attempt to get back into your life, but naturally, because they need you, they need your generosity, they need your support or your counsel, or whatever you provided them with the past. Well, that is something very important for them, and they couldn't find it in any other place, so they might attempt to get back into your life. Now the Justice card is reversed, so it doesn't really advise you to instantly block them out and don't give them any chance whatsoever, but it really does advise you that whenever this communication, this attempt from them to get back into your life happens, you really need to think things through. And by this I don't mean to recall the past and, hold grudges, etc., but to take on a very rational approach and actually judge them, but don't judge them, of who they were in the past. Judge them of who they are today, because if they have a hidden intent, so to speak, if they want to gain, if they want to use you, if they want something specific from you, they're gonna let you know one way or another, and that will be your moment to tell them, yes, I'm gonna help you because you've changed, so to speak, or you get me or you respect me. Or you're gonna say, I'm really sorry, you haven't changed at all, so no, I'm not gonna be your sacrifice or your benefactor because you used me for such a long time, and everything comes to an end. So simply said, this message just encourages you to judge really profoundly who you're gonna let back into your life, because the scales of justice, one is the heart and the other one is the mind, and they have to be in perfect equilibrium. So if your heart is weighing down the scales, you must not allow it to compromise your decision, because it also has to be rational. It has to, you have to basically be on an equal position. This is where you cannot allow yourself to be once more a sponsor or just give and give and give, regardless if it's material or just your work, your energy, your time, your sympathy, your feelings. No, it has to be perfectly convenient either for both of you, or there shouldn't have to be anything that has to do with convenience or gains or anything. So one or the other, because otherwise the past is just going to repeat itself. Now there can be a totally different kind of interpretation of this message, of these two cards, but the difference is that the Justice can actually represent a trial, a legal case, maybe a divorce that is pending, and whoever is the other person, they might want to negotiate and, settle a different kind of agreement. Or if it's not a partner, but rather a business partner, or not anyone who you had romantic relationship with, as in business partner, colleague, work, etc. This can also represent a legal case. Or if they have done anything unjust or disadvantaged you in any way, shape or form, this might represent their attempt to put it right. But this doesn't really change the general message. You have to truly make a very wise choice and take a decision where you don't just listen either to your heart or the intellect. You basically make the choice which reflects justice, equity the most. Now for the next message, we have the Four of Coins reversed and clarified by the Seven of Cups. Now this is also a rather delicate situation, because the combination of these two cards might reflect a very unrealistic sense of self-worth, because you're basically a people pleaser, but you might not really observe or be aware that this is what you're doing. Now the Four of Coins represents that you are very good at something. It can be something professional, it can be a skill, it can be an artistic talent, or it can simply be the kind of person who you are, who is a really, really powerful empath, or someone who finds it so very easy, pleasurable to inspire people, cheer them up, uplift them. So naturally you are, how should I even say it, very popular, because you have a very positive, uplifting effect on people. Or if that Four of Coins represents your professional skills and talents, well then you might do or offer a work which is infinitely superior to whatever they could buy or purchase or contract or anything like that. And also chances are the Four of Coins is reversed, so you might not even charge, or you might not even do this for material gains or anything. So, imagine for yourself what kind of situation is this. Well, of course you receive a lot of positive feedback, of course you receive praises, of course people have a very good opinion of you and seek you out, and they kind of know a treasure or a value when they see one. But the same thing cannot really be said about yourself, because whenever you look in the mirror, you don't really see what they see. But this is a different question. But the message of these two cards is that what you think about yourself based on what other people project and reflect back at you, while it's not real, it is more like an illusion. Well, because chances are those people don't know you whatsoever. Everything, every conversation, every gesture, connection, or whatever is about them, their stories, their dramas, their adventures, their problems, and never ever about you. So how can you even expect them to know who you are? And every feedback that they offer you, well, of course it is absolutely wonderful and positive and all of that. But wouldn't they say the exact same words to even a robot who would be their beneficiary? But of course this isn't the biggest problem, because gratitude and appreciation and kindness and niceness is energy as well, so it does benefit you. But what you might not see yourself doing psychologically is that many times you hide your flaws, you hide your sad moments, you hide your downs, you hide your pains, you hide your bad moods, because they don't want someone as vulnerable or as fragile as them. They want you to hold your position, hold your role for as long as it's possible, so basically forever. So basically, even without expressively knowing that you're doing this, you're basically hiding, and that person who you're showing is just a mask, because how can they truly get to know you if this never actually occurs? The reciprocal get to know you, the reciprocal who are you, how you're feeling, what's your life like, what's your situation like, never really happens. So basically, in order for you to truly get a grip on who you are, what kind of person you are, what your true social position is, who your true friends are, well, you need to stop pleasing other people. You need to stop immersing yourself in this illusion that, both of you created. It's not just the people who you please, but also you, because you are willing, you are the initiator of this. So it is getting to the point, the Four of Coins is reversed. That means that it's not beneficial for you and your self-worth anymore, because it's turning into a toxic illusion that it's ultimately gonna lead you to a very sad and lonely place. So whatever you do, you truly need to start showing yourself, showing your true personality, speaking about yourself, expressing yourself, speaking about your problems, your dramas, your adventures, your dreams, your goals, your day-to-day experiences. Whoever breaks their connection with you, that is a blessing, that is absolutely fine, because they were never meant to be there, more than on one occasion maybe. Because all of us have soul contracts and karmic contracts where we either have to help someone or inspire them or get them out of a tough situation. But that doesn't mean we have to be friends forever. That can be just one moment, just one situation in life, and it's over. Everyone goes their own separate ways and maybe meet again in 20, 30 years or so. So for most people in your life, you already fulfilled your karmic contract. So you can absolutely allow yourself to release them, let them go, not feed them, pump energy, whatever into them. And those people who truly appreciate you, and maybe there are some people in your life who are waiting eagerly for you to show yourself, to express yourself, for them to be able to return the favor of friendship, solidarity, compassion, or whatever. So basically, you need to start shining your true light, expressing yourself, having limits, having bounds, and of course giving those people a chance who truly want to get to know you, who already consider you to be a part of their lives, their realities, etc. Well, it is those people who you should be focusing on, because it is exactly those people who are going to be the most valid reflection of your self-worth, because they will not really praise you for what service, favor, whatever you offered them, but basically they're going to praise you of all the virtues that they see in you, which are also inside of them. So that is a truly harmonious friendship, because basically you see in each other what you also are. And if it comes to flaws and weaknesses, maybe another person has the same kind of flaws and weaknesses, but they already tackled them, they already resolved it, they already found a balance, and it is them who can now advise you or give you a tip or just simply encourage you and support you. So the big message here is, get out of this illusion and start turning everything to be reciprocal and mutual, because that is truly going to turn that Four of Coins into upright position, and that will be an authentic, stable, and valid, honest self-worth. Now the next message, we have the Four of Cups reversed and clarified by the Knight of Wands. Now this is also a very simple message, because the Four of Cups reversed represent your own contemplation, seeking the truth within yourself, being immersed in your thoughts, in your feelings, simulating certain scenarios mentally, daydreaming, desiring, alchemizing even, trying to solidify, crystallize, emphasize your true goals, and of course eliminating those which are no longer valid in your life. But since the Four of Cups is reversed, it means that you might have been doing this for the past 4 months, and you have already reached the stage where this deep contemplation, philosophies, meditation, being passive, waiting, being patient, trying to figure stuff out is no longer productive, because the big ideas, the big tasks on the virtual to-do list, so to speak, on the karmic or soul to-do list, are already crystal clear. So you kind of know what you're after, what you need to do, what you need to pursue, even though you might not know the exact details. And it's perfectly true that you might not have a very stable, palpable, mathematical plan on how to get going, start all of this. But that shouldn't really be a hindrance, really, because you have the goals, you are already trying to feel the passion, the attraction, the desire, you're already mustering the inner strength to go and work for it, to go and do it, to go and try and establish them. And as I say, these plans or goals or whatever you need to achieve are very important for you for the present and the close future. They don't necessarily have to be like big, impossible dreams which will take years to accomplish. These are rather immediate solutions, goals that you need to achieve right now in order to get going. So there is actually a sense of urgency here, and that is exactly why this contemplation period has to kind of stop now, because if you keep on doing it, it's gonna just drown you, it's gonna extinguish the inner fire, the passion. You're just gonna basically fall into stagnation, procrastination, mental blockages. So the Knight of Wands advises you to start doing something, start taking action. The Knight of Wands is heading out to conquer something. The Knight of Wands is basically the young version of the King of Wands. Before he got the chance to become a king, he was a knight who had to basically fight for whatever he desired in life. And now you're being advised to take on the position of the Knight of Wands and go out there and start doing it. Even if you don't have a plan, communicating, expressing yourself, asking for advice, asking for guidance, counsel, searching on the internet or wherever you can get some info or maybe tap into the experience of other people. Now all of that is perfectly available, and if you place intentions out there in the universe, but not just, spiritually, as in the Four of Cups would suggest, not just ask for help and wait until, it drops down from the sky. You can also go start exploring, or at least seeing what the possibilities are, how other people do certain kind of things, what other people's experiences were. And if it is in your possibilities, of course, reach out to an expert, reach out to friends, family, everyone who could basically help you, support you, or offer you at least an advice. Because when you start taking action, the universe will naturally mirror your attitude, and that is a very good start. Because even if you don't have a well-established plan, sometimes that's even better. Because, some situations need a lot of adaptability. They need a lot of sometimes compromises, or for us to change certain things. So that is actually quite beneficial. Because this way, we are almost certain to reach the finish line and to achieve whatever we wanted. Now, for those of you for whom this Four of Cups reverse kind of represents that your big goal or the big desire is to get a partner in your life, a lover, a romantic relationship, or even it could be a short-term relationship, but one which is very satisfying, so to speak. Well, for you guys, the message is simple. That Knight of Wands can be out there looking for you, but if you don't expose yourself, then there is no possible way how they can reach you. So have courage and be adventurous. Because, if this knight represents your future partner, it doesn't really matter the gender, because I know that the card depicts a male, but that doesn't mean it has to be a male who's on that horse seeking also a partner. So, every knight is kind of attracted to someone who they have to rescue, someone who needs help, someone who needs their intervention. So it might be a really good idea to also expose your problems or whatever you need help with, or your needs, because many times in life it is exactly that, the situation itself, that is going to attract the knight, and not necessarily what we might think as in our picture or physical expression or our personalities. Of course, they will matter a lot afterwards, but sometimes the link, the key to the connection, is actually not romantic or sexual or whatever in nature, but it might just be something that attracts the energy of that other person in our lives, and that can be a problem, because a problem can be just like a keyhole, a big gate closed, locked, and the solution can be a knight, the key which unlocks the gate, and then it can go from there. Now for the next message, we have the 9 of Wands reversed, clarified by the 4 of Wands. Now this might represent something that you have been working on for some time now, something that you have invested a lot of energy into. And chances are, regardless if this is like pure work, as in work energy, your time, effort, expertise, skills, or if it's emotional energy, creativity, or anything, well, I don't think you ever had such an incredible display of power, ambition, determination, skill, mastery, emotional energy, diligence, wisdom, every single one of your virtues woven together and invested into something ever in your life. So you can be infinitely proud of yourself, regardless of what you invested your energy into is a massive success or is maybe not as successful as you intended it to be. First of all, because this was something you had to do for yourself. It wasn't exactly from a karmic perspective, of course, for your human self. Well, naturally it was very, very important for this to succeed or to show some results or to bear fruits or etc. But from a karmic perspective, you just had to do this for yourself because there wasn't any other way you could achieve this kind of level of self-trust. Of course, this self-trust is not yet embodied because it will take maybe a year or a period of time until you detach a little bit and look back at everything that you have accomplished, and you're gonna be so amazed and so very proud of yourself when you're able to look at what you have done objectively, purely objectively, as in not immersed into the drama, without your batteries being almost dead. That will be something so very important because it will make you trust yourself and value all of your skills and your archetype like never before in your life. Because only a person with a very strong spinal cord, so to speak, as in someone who embodies a lot of dignity, honor, ambition, determination, spirit of sacrifice, empathy, compassion, all the alchemical treasures, the gold of what it means to be a human being, well, you did that, so you can be infinitely proud of yourself. Yes, in this present moment you might not see this situation like this, because the 9 of Wands is reversed, so you're burned out. You are basically your energy levels, your emotional levels, everything is almost at the last 5%, so to speak. Our phones are out of power and we need to charge them. You might be feeling this way in the present moment, and chances are it can be even worse than this for some people, because maybe that 9 of Wands is reversed also because whatever you have invested all this work or energy power into, it is not really showing the signs of success or breakthrough or stability that you intended. But that, of course, doesn't mean that from a karmic perspective it is not a massive success. And of course there is that situation where whatever you have done right now can turn into a massive success at its own time, at a certain moment in the future. Even if you release it and let it go, maybe it will be revived when the time is right by the karmic forces. Or for some people, it is already turning into a success, but it's not, the process is not really visible, but there are connections already being made, and it will be a breakthrough in the future. And this is basically the symbolism of the Four of Swords. The work is completed. It is finished. You can basically detach yourself regardless of how strongly you desire it, regardless of how important this is for you. You're out of power, so you have no choice but to either detach, go on a holiday, put it on the shelf and allow it, your creation or whatever that is, to breathe, to, have a life of its own, and then return after your batteries are recharged. Because on one hand it's finished, it's completed, and on the other hand there is nothing you can do anymore. Especially when your batteries are dead, if you try and keep up the same, investment of energy and effort into it, you're just gonna burn out, and chances are you are gonna turn against your creation and terminate it, not even giving it a chance to achieve success. So these cards are warning you not to overdo the work, not to overdo the investment of energy, because you're reaching burnout. And if that burnout takes place, it will bitter you, sour you, and you will turn this massive achievement and accomplishment of yours into something negative. As in, you will destroy it, you will terminate it. For example, if it's a book, you'll delete it. If it's anything, you'll terminate it basically. So relax, take some time out, detach, don't obsess. Allow it to breathe, allow it to achieve success in its own time. Focus on what you have done personally for yourself, what you have proven to yourself and the whole world. That is the true victory. That is the true triumph of this situation. And you can already start feeling infinitely proud and happy for what you have done. Now the last message, this is a really complicated one, for we have the Five of Wands reversed, we also have the Magician reversed and clarified by the Wheel of Fortune. Now, regardless of how we look at this situation, well, you have been fighting for something that is so important for you. But this isn't really a material thing or something that is part of our daily human lives. So chances are this can either be to basically start living a new life, a different personality, different identity, different psychological configuration, or it can be achieving a big dream of yours, which can not really be achieved through basic human means. So it would need either a massive lucky breakthrough or, for example, the Magician reverse, the law of attraction working like a charm in your favor, because whatever you fought for and are still fighting for is something very, very important to your soul. It is not just something material, physical, or a situation, but it is something which basically has to do with your soul path, with why you were born in this life, in this form, in this identity. So it is something really, really important, mainly to your soul. So what I'm trying to say here is that how our human selves might see this or think about this is not even that much important, because as I said, chances are this isn't something that which we can accomplish or is susceptible to be accomplished in a very down-to-earth, average human way. Like, let me give you an example. If someone always dreamt to be a singer and has the talents and the skills, everything, but the kind of life which blocks this out 100% always, well, that person can only have a chance to accomplish this dream if they leave that life behind, which limits them. So it is something as major as this. And also the Five of Wands reversed. So you tried everything in your power in the more distant path, basically, to accomplish it through human means, through normal means, through average means, and of course it didn't come together, it didn't succeed. But you also tried it spiritually, because basically if this is a soul mission or a massive dream of yours, it is of spiritual nature, so it has to be the spiritual side of existence which leads you to it, or offers you or helps you accomplish it. But the problem is that you might have tried every single trick in your magic book. You might have studied so very many different takes, methodologies. You might have really searched and researched the experience of other people, how others did this. You might have read a lot, you might have took in a lot of information, experimented, tried out so very many different things, and it's not like you weren't successful, because every attempt of yours was a massive step forward, but the completion, its true manifestation, is nowhere in sight. And you might also receive guidance or information, dreams, who knows, whatever your spiritual communication technique is, that it's not gonna happen, that it's not time yet, it's not here, it's not opportune, so to speak. And this makes that Five of Wands really, really aggressive, as in you're so frustrated, you're so angry deep inside yourself, and your anger isn't directed towards anyone really, because it's not your fault, so you cannot be upset at yourself, so you don't really know what to do, how to manage your anger, your frustration. It might also be a depression for other people. For others, it can be surrender, defeat, the start of the dark night of the soul, where you actually feel so very defeated. But fortunately, the universe is telling you that whatever divine guidance or information you received, that you're not gonna accomplish it, you're not gonna get it, it's not time yet, etc. Well, that is a half-truth, because the universe or your guides or the spirit couldn't tell you that you're so close to achieving it, because it would trigger your mind, and your mind is dangerous. Your mind modifies things, and it's never a good idea for you to know in advance. But breakthrough is really, really close. But the problem is, it's the wheel of fortune. It is luck. It is fate. It is the divine intelligence at work at its finest. So your mind couldn't even understand how, why, or what. But the essence is that don't despair just yet. Don't fall into depression. Don't allow your frustration to tear your being and your peace and serenity apart, because you're very close to breakthrough. And in your gut, in your, basically your physical body, in every cell of your body, you can feel that something is coming. And that is the truth. Sometimes intuition and an elevated approach is actually not the truth. Whatever your gut, your body, your human self tells you, sometimes truth is exactly there, so you kind of know that you're close to breakthrough. So hold on just a little bit, because that Wheel of Fortune can also represent Jupiter going direct in the sign of Capricorn, and that is really close, so you're almost there. Well, this concludes the reading. I hope you enjoyed it and you found it useful. And remember, if you'd like a personal reading, just log on to 1millionnights.com and find your dedicated advisor, who would love nothing more than to offer you guidance and spiritual advice. Thank you so much for listening. Wish everyone a blessed and safe day. Bye for now.